What's up guys, my name is Emmanuel Pineda from BSID 32 and I'm here to discuss my topic about operating security systems. So first, let's define what is OSS or operating security system. So basically, an operating security system refers to the collection of tools, practices, and protocols implemented to protect an operating system. And the data it handles from unauthorized access, threats, and vulnerabilities. So that's an operating security system. So let me give you some quick and detailed breakdown of how operating security systems works. Number one, the purpose of operating security system is to ensure the confidentiality. So confidentiality, it is where you prevent unauthorized users from accessing sensitive data in your personal computer, laptops, or devices that you use daily. And the second one is maintain integrity. So basically, it protects the system data and files from being altered maliciously or accidentally. Number three is ensure availability, and wherein it keeps the system and its resources available to authorized users. Next one is, what are the key components of operating security system? So number one, authentication, wherein you verify user identity, for example passwords, biometrics, two-way factory authentication. So the second one is authorization. It means you controls what authenticated users can do. Example is file permissions, data transfers. The third one is access controls, wherein it implements policies to manage who can access what resources. So the fourth one is encryption. So basically, it protects the data at rest, in transit. For example, file encryption, SLL, TLS. That's the function of encryption. So the fifth one is auditing and logging, wherein it tracks the system activity for monitoring and detecting unusual behavior. Next one is patch management, wherein regular updates the OS to fix vulnerabilities and other system bugs. So it is essential to have your operating system update regularly. And the next one is antivirus and malware protection. So the function of this is to detect and removes malicious software coming from unauthorized access or threats coming from outside of your protected system. The last one is firewalls and network security. It prevents unauthorized access to a form to or from a network, or you can say from another network. So let's discuss the Windows security under operating security system. First, let's define what is Windows security. Windows security, formerly known as Windows Defender Security Center, is a Microsoft built-in service suite for the Windows operating system. It helps protect your PC from viruses, malware, ransomware, phishing, and other cyber threats. So let me explain to you how Windows security works. So these are the key components of Windows security. Number one is Microsoft Defender Antivirus, wherein it gives you real-time protection to scan files, apps, and downloads as they run. And they also have cloud delivered protection, wherein uses Microsoft Threat Intelligence to block new fast spreading threats. So the second one is firewall and network protection, wherein it monitors incoming and outgoing network traffic in your computer or in your operating system. And also it blocks unauthorized access from your outside or access based on predefined or custom rules. And it works with both public and private networks. So we have the third one, we're in app and browser control. We have the uses smart screen to block dangerous apps that causes harm, that will cause or it may be cause harm in your computer, and it blocks dangerous apps, downloads, and websites, and it warns against suspicious or potentially harmful behavior in browsers and apps. So device security, often core isolation and memory integrity to protect kernel level threats. So we have virus and threat protection, central hub for antivirus features, provides scan history, quarantine options, and protection status.
Microsoft Endpoint Manager is a central place to manage the configuration of organizations' devices. In this video, you'll learn how to use it to manage security configurations for Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. In Endpoint Manager, device configuration profiles are where you configure most Microsoft Defender for Endpoint security settings. You can also configure these settings in security baselines, but we'll have a look at that later. To create a device configuration profile, select Devices, then Configuration Profiles, and then Create Profile. Choose a profile type. There's a variety of them to choose from. Two common ones, especially for security configuration, are device restrictions and endpoint protection. Here are the Microsoft Defender antivirus settings in device restrictions. Configure the settings to meet your requirements. Save them, and then create the profile. After creating the profile, you'll need to assign it, much like you link group policy objects to containers in Active Directory. Select Assignments. Choose the groups you want to assign it to, and done. Next, we'll look at granting access to company resources based on device compliance. Conditional access grants users access to resources, like Exchange Online or SharePoint Online, based upon their compliance with the policies you define. It's a two-step process. First, define a compliance policy. In the Endpoint Security Blade, select Device Compliance, and then create a policy. Here's an example of a compliance policy that requires BitLocker to be enabled and the threat level to be secured. Any device assigned to this policy that doesn't meet these requirements will be marked as non-compliant in Endpoint Manager. The next step is to create a conditional access policy. To do that, back in the Endpoint Security Blade, select Conditional Access and create a new policy. You can define rules, like this simple one, that grants access only if the device is marked as compliant. Conditional access rules can get complicated, depending on your requirements, but the documentation is helpful. It describes several scenarios and how to configure them. I want to revisit security baselines, which I mentioned earlier. The ability to deploy your entire security configuration in a single object can save you a lot of time and frustration. To do that, select Security Baselines and then Microsoft Defender for Endpoint Baseline. Create variations of the baseline in individual profiles, depending on the requirements. In this case, I'll create my first profile and name it. By default, the profile is pre-configured with recommended settings, so I can simply get started with these settings as is and move on. Next, I'll assign my new profile and finish creating the profile. This was a lot quicker than configuring individual settings in device configuration profiles, so keep that in mind when you're managing the configuration of Microsoft Defender for Endpoint. After assigning device configuration profiles, security baselines, compliance policies, and conditional access policies, you'll want to keep track of it all. For example, how do I know if my devices are compliant with a policy? I can run the device compliance report in Endpoint Manager. The data you see here is as fresh as it can be and not based on snapshots or summaries. You can also look at device compliance as a trend. This is the future of reporting in Endpoint Manager, and it's just the beginning. You'll see new reports here as they become available. Of course, you can still build your own reports. To do that, use Log Analytics or Workbooks. Endpoint Manager is a single place for you to manage Microsoft Defender for Endpoint configurations in your organization. For more information about it, see the documentation on Microsoft Docs.
So in summary, let me give you some quick summary about the topic we discussed, so that we know that we learned something from it. So an operating system is critical to defending the heart of any computing environment. Why? Because the OS itself, it combines both hardware and software measures to keep the system secure, stable, and trusted. So that's it. Thank you guys for listening and watching.